Hello everyone, welcome to Java tutorials. In this session, we'll look into how to call upon the methods belonging to the same class. So if a class is a non-abstract class, then the methods of this non-abstract class can be broadly classified as static and non-static methods. So in this session, we'll look into how to call upon these static and non-static methods. So let us consider we create a class sample, and sample consists of 4 methods, of which 2 will be static and 2 will be non-static. So your static methods include method disp and method odd even. In this odd even, we'll be taking one input parameter. Similarly, in non-static methods, there are two, one show and second one is max. Now this max method will be again taking two integer parameters as an input. So let us first design the class sample, and we'll be able to create the object of class sample because sample will be a non-abstract class. So let us first design the class. Public class sample. Let me save this first. We'll save this with the same name as that of the class sample.java. Okay. Very first thing we'll create or we'll declare a main method, public static void main. Input parameter string array. Okay. Thereafter, now we'll declare 4 methods, of which first 2 methods will be static. One is disp and second one is odd even. Let us assume the return type of all these 4 methods will be void. That means they are not going to return anything. So let us declare first static methods as public static void disp. So let me say here we just write only one statement, system dot out dot println it's a call from static method. Okay, now similarly let us create the method or even. To this we'll pass one input parameter. So again public static void or even, it will take in one integer parameter as an input. So let's consider n with a number. Let us say here we are we'll check whether n is odd or even, and correspondingly we'll say n is even or n is odd. So for if n mod 2 equal to 0, mod will give me the remainder. Then in that case we'll say system dot out dot println will say n is even. Else here we'll say system dot out dot println, here we'll say n is odd. Okay, so we are done with static methods. Now let us focus on non-static methods. We are having 2 non-static methods, one show and second max. Okay, so first let us declare show method. So public void show. As a show is a non-static method, we won't write static keyword. Okay, so void public void show, and here we'll just write down as it's a call from a non-static method, the way we have written for static method, that is disp. So we'll write over system.out.println. It's a call from non-static method. We are not doing any sort of computation over here. Okay, and finally max min. So public void max, it's gonna require two integer variables. So let's consider two variables as x and y, or input parameters x and y. And here we'll say if x greater than y, we'll say x is max, so system.out.println x is maximum or greater. Let's consider x is greater, else if x is less than y, then we'll say y is greater, the system dot out dot println will write y is greater. And finally, only one condition is remaining, that is else. We'll say both numbers are equal, system dot out dot println equal numbers. Let's see. Equal numbers. Okay, so we have done with 4 methods, of which are 2 static methods and 2 non-static methods. Now thing is how we are gonna to call upon. A basic concept goes, you can call static method directly from static constants. That means from main method, I can directly call upon odd and even. First, okay, let's first compile this and check for any syntactical error. So let me go to my folder. CD, I think it's desktop, and it's Java tutorials. All right. So my parent folder is Java tutorial. Let me clear the stuff. Java C. Name of file is sample.java. So if any error, no. So syntactically it's proper. This and or even, these are static methods. So static methods you can directly call by using either the class name or else by use directly without using a class name. For example, a sample class name is sample. Now if we're gonna to call upon disp and or even, okay, and we are gonna to call upon this main method, all these 3 methods belong to the same class, so you can call upon disp and or even directly. You can call upon static methods from static constant or static context. So let's consider like this. I'm going to call upon this. Yes, I can call upon directly. And even if I say odd even, I can call directly. Okay, odd even I require to pass some value. So let's consider value is 10. So let's compile this. And it worked. So if you try to execute this, Java sample dot, on the Java sample, so we are getting, okay. Similarly, from disp you can call odd even, because disp is also static, odd even is also static. So let's consider something like this. From disp I'm gonna call upon odd even, and let me consider I'm passing here value 15. Let me save it, let me recompile. Okay, and let's execute this. So if you're gonna to call upon static method, you can call directly or by using the class name, subject condition. The method from which you are calling, it should be a static method. That means static methods can be called directly from static context. Okay, but now let me consider like this. Let me consider we are having the method show. Okay, if I want to call the show method from main method, can I call upon directly? Let me check. I'm calling show method, and if I compile this, I'll get an error. Error is non-static method show cannot be referenced from static context. You have a method show which is non-static. So if you want to call upon the methods from, or if you want to call upon the non-static methods from static methods or static context, then you need to create the object of that class. And then using that object, you can call upon that method. Similarly, if you consider, if I'm trying to call upon them, let's consider max. I'm passing value, let's consider 10 and 15. And if I try to compile it again, it will give me an error. Because again, max is a non-static method and I'm calling from the static method. Now it's not like that because I'm declaring that in main method, I'm getting this an error. Even if let's consider I'm passing this value, I'm calling max method from disk, again it will give me the same error. Let me recompile. Look, every time it's saying a non-static method cannot be referenced from static context. So now what to do? If you want to call upon the method show and max, either you're going to call it from main method or from disk method or from or even. Now all these three methods, main, disk, or even, these are static methods. Now if you want to call upon the non-static methods from static context or from static method, what you need is you need to create the object of the class, even if all these methods belong to the same class. So let's consider we create object s of class sample as new sample, and then by using this object we can call upon the method show as well as max. So let me save this and recompile. Now we are not getting any error because we are using object. So now if you try to execute this Java sample, we will get the values. Okay, first three, these statements are there because we are calling directly the static methods, whereas your last two lines, these are getting called because of these statements or because of these methods show and max, and that too these methods are getting executed only because we are calling this method by using the object. So if we put down some points, we can have something like this. First, static methods can be called directly from the static context. Okay, now let's go and second point, to call non-static methods from static context, we need to create an object of the class and then using the object call the non-static method. Okay, so same thing will happen even if you're going to call the method show from this. So here if I write down like this s dot show, let's try to compile it. It should give an error. Let's see. Yes, s is unknown because whatever the object you have created, that object is a local object. Okay, so for that purpose what you can do is you can make this object, scope of this object as of class level, because we have created object s in main method, so scope was local. Instead of now if we create or declare that object outside the main method, or let's consider inside the class, then let's see it, let's compile it. Everywhere it can. Non-static variable s cannot be referenced from static context. Yes. It's better we create the object here itself. So again, now let's compile it. Yeah, it worked. Now finally, let us say if you want to call upon the method show and max, can we call this directly from each other? Now from show, we'll call upon the method max. Let's see if it works. 15 and 20. Okay, so let's clear this stuff. Let's recompile java c sample.java. Yeah, it worked. Now order of execution will be something like this. Let's go with the main method. In main method, first is you're calling the disk, and from this there's again the call to method show. Okay, because we have created another object, and also there's a call to odd even. So if we execute this java sample, here it is. Okay, we are there a lot many calls over there. So what we'll do, we'll try to minimize the statements. Let's consider we comment this. Okay, this is required, and let us say we also minimize this. We are just focusing right now how we can call non-static methods. So let me clear this stuff and let me compile this. We are calling method show and max. Okay, so in show we are from method show, we are calling max method directly, and that too without using any object, or we are without creating any object, and it got compiled. So java sample, and it's coming proper. So the third point what we can have is a non-static method can be directly called from the non-static context. Show and max both are non-static methods. So if just without using any object, you can call them directly. From show, you can call upon method max directly. And now the last, how we can call upon the static methods from the non-static context. As static methods are class methods, you can call them directly from the non-static context as well. For example, let us consider we call upon method show, and from show, if you want to call upon the method disk, we can call upon disk directly. So I have just made one change. I'm calling this method disk directly. So let me save it. Let me recompile. Yes, no error. That means this statement is valid. And if we execute this java sample, here you get, you're calling the method disk, because of which there's a statement disk is this, it's a call from a static method. Finally, a non-static it's already given out. We have already written. So basically, if we look into this, if a class is a non-abstract class, then whatever methods declared in that non-abstract class can be either static method or a non-static method. Now to call each other, it goes like this. From static context, you can call directly the static methods. Similarly, from non-static methods, you can call non-static methods directly. However, From static methods, if you want to call the non-static methods, that is, let us consider from this you want to call the method show. You cannot directly call this method. What you need to do, you need to create the object of class sample. Name of a class in which all these methods are there, it's class sample. So you will create the object of class sample. Let's consider S is the object of class sample. So we'll create sample like the sample S equal to new sample. And then using the object, you can call upon method show from class this. That means to call a non-static method from static context, we need to create the object of the class, and then using the object, you can call the non-static method. However, if you're going to call if you want to call a static method from non-static method, to call a static method from a non-static method, we need not create an object, because if the method is static method, then that method is of a class method. That method can also be said to be as a class method. Okay, so from max from show, if you want to call just a second, from method show, if you want to call method this, you did not create the object, you can simply write this. That's it for this session. I hope you have understood. In the case you have liked it, kindly hit the like and share. Thank you.